Just a couple weeks ago, the White House held an event for Detrans Awareness Day and invited a bunch of right-wing detransitioner micro-influencers to.
Okay, but these people are so crazy. Remember when Biden was in office and you invited all of your people to the White House and your friend Rose Montoya was showing her boobies?
What's behind the latest push for research on gender transition? Here's what you need to know. The Trump administration has directed the National Institutes of Health, or NIH, to research the physical and mental health effects of gender transition. This includes studies on regret and detransition among both children and adults. An internal NIH memo states that funding announcements for this research are expected within 6 months.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for joining me today with this really awesome news. Now, of course, the trans activists are losing their poo-poo over all of this. And sorry, but this has to happen. Now, I can't wait to show you all of what I have and how I can just show you how they are so full of it and they create lies. And the reason why these kind of things are happening is because they were never honest and they were advocating for all the wrong things. And, you know, sometimes when you push too hard, you're going to get pushed on harder back. So I'm going to show you how they continually spread misinformation and why these kind of studies, to me, as a transsexual person who transitioned over 30 years ago, agrees with these types of studies. And funny thing is we didn't need these kind of studies before, but because of these so-called trans activists, now we need them. So with that, let's just get right into it, because I think this is going to be a really great video and I'm super excited to do it. I'm really happy that the Trump administration is starting to do these kinds of studies. So with that, because we have a lot of detransitioners who have been fighting to be acknowledged. As you know, they don't get acknowledged in the trans community. They get pushed out and they get talked down to and they get treated like garbage. It's actually insane to me. So with that, let me just finish this little piece here.
However, the directive has sparked concerns. Advocates and researchers worry about the language used, like social transition and chemical and surgical mutilation, and the potential for political bias. Some argue existing data shows low rates of regret, while others say more research is needed. Critics fear these findings could influence state laws restricting gender-affirming care. Stay tuned as this story unfolds. What do you think?
You know what blows my mind is that they don't want these studies. The trans activists don't want these studies. Why wouldn't you want these studies, especially when there's such a high rate of detransitioners? Now, I'm going to show you how they continually, and it's so funny, they always say the same thing. They've been saying it for the last 10 years. There's a low rate of detransitioners. It's literally stayed at 1%. They all say 1%. They say it's only 1%. How is that possible? For 10 years, it's literally stayed at 1% when we can see huge amounts of these young people regretting their transition. Now, that can mean anything from a social transition all the way to a medical transition. And that's still regret. And that's still being put into that system. Of course, I would say that the medical transition is probably worse than the social transition, but we can't discount the mental anguish this has caused a lot of these young people. And so why these studies are important. And I think it's irresponsible for a transgender community to not want these studies. Okay. So they've had the opportunity, and I'll show you, they've been given money by the NIH to do research on this, and they haven't exposed that research, which I will show you here. So they've been given plenty of money, plenty of opportunities to show that puberty blockers work, that transition works, where they haven't been able to show that. And all the studies that they have done have been debunked, on top of the fact that much of it is very biased and not done in an unbiased space, which is how an actual how it should actually be done. Studies should be done in a non-biased space. It's just ridiculous behavior. So I want to, well, here, let me bring this up. This is the This is from NPR, where it says White House orders NIH to research trans regret and detransition. I'm not going to read the whole thing because I have a lot more stuff I want to show you. But basically, of course, they're going to have and I love how they put regret. So they put here, the directive was shared with NPR by two current NIH staffers who did not want to be identified for fear of retribution. Isn't that just a sign of something to me? Who wouldn't want to, for fear of retribution? What? Come on. It is from acting NIH director Mark Memoli, sorry you guys, and says the NIH must study the impact of social transition and or chemical and surgical mutilation among children who transition. Specifically, the White House wants the NIH to study regret, in quotes, and detransition. Why are they in quotes? Among children and adults who have transitioned. I want to go down here because they're freaking out on the wording. Okay, they're totally freaking out on the wording here. It says blah blah blah. I want to show you this. What they're looking for is a political answer, not a scientific one. How do you know that? How you're making an assumption? How do you know that they're not looking for a scientific? Okay, let's not all of a sudden just go straight to it's political. It's not political. We have a lot of young people who have been hurt from transitioning. So says Adrian Shanker, who served as Deputy Assistant Security for Health Policy at HHS under President Biden. Well, there you go. That should be an alarm for everyone who cares about the scientific integrity of the national. Oh, as if it had integrity under Biden. Give me a break, man. Wow, seriously? Don't let me even get into that. Among the red flags in the directive is the language, Shanker and others say, chemical or surgical mutilation. These are deeply offensive terms, says Harry Barbie, an assistant professor at Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. This terminology has no place in serious scientific or public health discourse, Barbie says. The language has been historically used to stigmatize trans people. Don't speak for me, okay? Even the phrase regret and detransition can be weaponized. Wow, don't speak for me. I actually have no issues with those words being used, okay? So let me show you the definition. The definition of mutilation is the action of mutilating or being mutilated. And then other words for that or similar words are maiming, disfigurement, okay, so, and damage. I'm sorry, but I have done videos on these young kids, and they have been actually disfigured. So mutilation can be used in a way where I see young kids who are having top surgery that looks the most insane thing. And you can go on my channel, and I'll put a link to those videos where I can show you so many top surgeries that are literal disfigurement. So, to you, Mr. whatever your name, Harry, no, I disagree with you. That language is important because that language does show this is happening. They don't like me because I'm going to push against all this, and I actually bring it on, Trump. Bring that research and study on. We have been waiting for this to happen because we will show you that these kids are being put into a space that they should never be put into. So I want to bring up this person here. This YouTuber whose name is Matt Bernstein. I'm not a fan of him, and I'm going to call him him. He goes by he, they, but that's not my problem. And he's a gay man who I think now might identify as non-binary. Not my problem, okay? So he's like 26 years old or something, and he thinks he knows everything. And, he's done some hit videos on me, but, I haven't really care about that because I'm 62 and go ahead, buddy. I've been doing this longer than you've been alive. So you can just go ahead and think, but he has a huge following, this guy, okay? And he is part of the problem, big time, because he has a huge young people following. He's basically just a gay makeup dude, another one of those like JVN, who now got into this space and they're not, they just really indoctrinate a lot of these kids. He's also, I don't want to get into my political beliefs. I think you all know that. I am not a pro-Palestinian. He's one of those kind of people championing and being part of that whole pro-Palestine and pro-Hamas and pro-terrorist group. I interviewed this person whose name is Maia Poet, and she is a detransitioner. Now, I want you to see this, and then I'm going to say something. So this is what this guy put on his channel lately, and it got like 450,000 views, okay? So this guy doesn't like detransitioners because they go against the narrative.
When I think about the spread of gender ideology, I liken it a lot to another internet cult of the 2010s, which would have been ISIS.
Hello, and welcome back to A Bit Fruity. I'm Matt Bernstein. I'm so happy that you're here. About 5 months ago, I woke up to a tweet. Kat, would you like to read the tweet? You have not seen this.
Tomorrow marks my 1-year anniversary of not wearing a breast binder. On October 7th, 2023, I awoke to a siren. I didn't have enough time to squeeze myself into the barbaric breast squashing device I had used to pass as a man. I had only enough time to run to a bomb shelter. What? Wait, oh, are they from Israel?
They were living in Israel at the time, yes.
Okay.
Do you see where this is going now?
Yes, okay.
Oh, where's it going, Matt? You don't like that, do you? Okay, you don't like the fact that Maia lived in Israel, and Maia's story doesn't actually go along with your story, okay? This is an actual young girl who I interviewed and I'm actually friends with, who suffered and dealt with things. And you people are just so hilarious how you're okay with other people's trans stories if it just keeps going on, okay? But the minute it goes against what you say, and the fact that this person is a Jewish person living in Israel and you are so anti-Israel, that now you're going to pick this person apart. This is why I'm showing you that this guy, Matt, is so full of himself and he just spreads the hate. He's a hater, okay? Because if you really did care about the trans community, you would not hate on these young. This is a young woman who suffered in a. And why is her story now you're acting like, ooh, see where this is going? It's so unbelievably disrespectful. laughing.
I was
Barf, laughing at a young person who's dealing with a very difficult situation in a worn, torn part of the world that's just out of control, and they're sitting here laughing in the comfort of their little nice spaces here in the United States. It's so barfy.
like, why are they running to? Okay, all right.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. This is about to be as ridiculous as you think it's going to be. But let me not get ahead of myself. I thought I'd seen it all.
Oh,
but
really?
Hamas made me detransition. Felt like an AI-generated attempt to make me lose my mind in yet another new and ever more creative way. The tweet came from a user called Maia Poet, someone I've never heard of at this point, but someone whose lore I would quickly become enveloped in. This is going to be an episode about detransitioners, or people who once identified as transgender may have gone through various steps of socially and or medically transitioning genders, and then at some point decided, this isn't for me. While rare, first of all, detransition is something that happens. And I first and foremost just want to say that I think...
Is he going to say 1%? Let's take a bet right now. It's rare. It very rarely happens. It's only 1%. Let's just take a bet.
Detransitioners deserve support, societally, medically. They deserve to have their stories heard, not because they're at odds with the life-saving, gender-affirming care that trans people need.
Life-saving gender really? Life-saving? How would you know? You're not even doing life-saving gender care. You're not even a trans person. You're a they, he, gay man.
In fact, I think that they can make it better because the perspectives of the relatively small number of people who don't ultimately pursue a lifelong transition.
See, they keep saying small amount. And just hold on here. Just watch.
Can contribute to better care, not only for others who detransition, but also for trans people. But unfortunately, that's not what's been happening on the world stage, and especially not on the national stage here in the United States. The political right has found value in exploiting the stories of detransition.
Because you, on the left, wouldn't give voice to these people, okay? You don't give any voice. You woke liberal people are so against giving any other opposing view the stage. So who gives these people stage? The right. They give me, okay? Me, the right. The right has the conversation with me. When I'm not on that. I'm a middle ground person. Okay. I was a registered Democrat. I'm no longer a registered Democrat. I was a registered Democrat my whole life. So you're not looking at the whole picture. People go where their voice is being heard.
Transitioners in their ongoing war against transgender people, pitting them at
Also, they're not at war with transgender. I'm friends with so many of these detransitioners, so I can prove you wrong, okay? Not just me, a lot of us transsexual people are, because we actually care about them. So you're wrong right there. They don't hate us. They hate people like you who are pushing an agenda on these young people who got hurt by this situation.
odds with one another and paying detransitioners willing to participate in.
They're not paying them. And even if they were, you're getting paid to push pro Hamas nonsense, and you're getting paid on your YouTube channel. So what's the difference? And you're an influencer on TikTok who makes money. So what's the difference?
That narrative with podcasting contracts, White House visits.
See how they don't like it? They just don't like when other people, okay, are doing things, basically what they're doing, but on the other side of the aisle.
And of course, money. These incentives have created some celebrity detransitioners. The big
You mean like celebrity influencers like Jeffrey, Dylan, you, that other weirdo. All of these people right here that I'm showing you, okay? All of these are paid influencers to actually influence young people to transition.
biggest of which is Chloe Cole, a 20-year-old who, at the time we're recording this, was at the White House yesterday, lobbying against what she calls radical gender ideology. Just a couple weeks ago, the White House held an event for Detrans Awareness Day and invited a bunch of right-wing detransitioner micro-influencers to...
Okay, but these people are so crazy. Remember when Biden was in office and you invited all of your people to the White House and your friend Rose Montoya was showing her boobies and so it's literally the same thing. You just don't like it because you're not getting invited now. The hypocrisy is crazy. Sorry, your president isn't in office now. The one who invited all you wingnuts to the White House before. Now it's their turn and they get to go to the White House and you're mad about it.
Washington, D.C. for it. Today, we're going to be talking about one Maia Poet, the detrans influencer I mentioned above, who detransitioned because October 7th, I guess. It's a whole thing. We'll get into it.
Okay, you're so gross. You're just gross. I can't. You know what? That's enough of that guy because he's so full of himself. And also, he's making fun of October 7th. He's making fun of somebody's really insane experience. That her story, you should listen to the podcast I did with her. It's actually sad and crazy and insane. And she went on to be very outspoken. They don't like it when you become up there and really at the forefront of helping these studies finally get funded by our tax dollars. So as a taxpayer, I want that to happen. I don't care what you say, buddy. These things need to happen, whether or not you like it or not. And stop saying it's a small amount of people. You've been saying 1% for the last 10 years. So I want to show you this. Watch this.
Pro-trans crowds' favorite talking points is that rates of regret and detransition are low. They will often say that the rate of detransition is 1%, maybe 2%. But it turns out that talking point is not true. A new study on a sample of about 1,000 transitioners has found a detransition rate of nearly 30%.
Bam, bam, and bam.
Tip to Megan McArdle from the Washington Post for calling attention to this study. It is called The Continuation of Gender-Affirming Hormones Among Transgender Adolescents and Adults. Study was published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, and it found that the 4-year trans hormone continuation rate was just 70.2%. That's a far cry from the 98%, 99% statistic that the trans activists promote.
Why do you think they keep lying about it? What if you really care and think it's gender affirming, life-saving stuff? Why wouldn't you want to be on the up and up about it? What I do. I don't want to lose this space. I'm not fighting against the transitioning. I'm fighting against nonsense. I'm fighting against bad transitioning. I'm fighting against lies and deceit. I'm fighting against children being put in this space. I'm fighting for adult transition in a safe, secure space like me. I am proof. I will keep showing you. I am proof. And I know you all don't show up here because you hate me. You all show up because you actually respect that I have gone through this. I am honest. It has bettered my life. It is actually real medicine that really helps people who need this medicine. And these people are making it so it's like they actually don't want it, but they're pretending like they want it, if that makes sense. It's like they're not making any sense whatsoever, because if they really did care about this, they would want to be straight up honest about it. And that's why the whole thing is so absurd and ridiculous. So I'm going to bring this up.
And this is something you've been looking into and something that we've spoken about a few times in the last couple of catch-ups we've done. And it's about the administration cutting funding for research to improve the health and lives of transgender people. What's been going on here recently?
So the Trump administration has cut virtually all federal funds, including NIH research grants, to understand and improve the health of transgender people.
And I'm going to show you why right after this.
And so now there's, virtually no research left in this field, but
because you all scammed. You scammed this research. It was biased research. It wasn't real research. You brought trans community. You brought this on yourself. I can't stand when people mess something up or fuck something up and then they refuse to take responsibility for it. You fucked it up. We were actually getting funding to figure out how things and you fucked it all up, and none of you are going to take responsibility for it.
I got wind, thanks to an email that I reviewed, of new research that the administration would like to fund in this field, but it's quite specific what they would like to look at, and specifically to study regret and detransition following social transition.
You had your chance. You had your chance to study why people need to transition. How does it? No one contacted me. No one said, hey, wait, we got this guy, Buck Angel, who's been doing this for a long time. And it's obviously helped him. No one ever. And also, I have some buddies who transitioned along with me or later than me, 20 years or so. None of us were contacted for these studies. Not one single. You'd think you'd want to contact the elders in the community to see how it's going. What are the health problems? Not one of them. You had your chance to study this. And now you don't get your chance because you fucked up. And now you got all these kids who are suffering, okay, and you're out acting like they don't exist when they clearly do exist, which I will show you. Hold on. Let's finish this.
And chemical and surgical mutilation of children and adults.
Yeah.
So what they're referring to here is gender-affirming surgery, and they're using this language that scientists say is absolutely unscientific. And it's quite specific. The focus.
Gender affirming surgery is also not scientific. It's made up.
Is to study regret and detransition.
Oh my God, the way he's saying it, regret and detransition, as if it's a bad thing.
So this is people who get gender affirming surgery and decide or realize later on maybe that they regret doing that.
Yeah.
This has been a big talking point among the Trump administration, but the published research on this, some of the estimates are as low as 1%.
Should have taken a bet there. 1%. They love to say 1%. BS. Call BS on that. There's no way from 10 years ago that you've been saying 1% to now that it's still 1%. Not possible. Also, I want to see those studies. I've never seen those studies. The only studies I've seen are by your own people. Every time I go to look for stuff, it's always by LGBT organizations or trans and queer organizations. Nobody outside of that space is doing these studies. Okay, so now they're going to start doing these studies. That's what you're scared of. You're scared of the fact that they're going to show you that that's not true about 1%. Okay, so now I'm going to show you why all your funding is being taken away, okay, and why you don't get to do this anymore, and because your ethics weren't there. They gave you money to do they gave you money to do studies, which you did not expose. Okay, watch this.
I bet you didn't know that a major study on puberty blockers almost didn't see the light of day. Here's why. Dr. Johanna Olson Kennedy, a prominent advocate for transgender youth care, led a $10 million study funded by the National Institutes of Health.
A $10 million study funded by NIH, people.
This study followed 95 children over 2 years, investigating the effects of puberty blockers.
Wow.
Surprisingly, the results showed no significant improvement in mental health. However, Olson Kennedy has faced criticism for withholding these findings. Critics argue that this breaches research ethics.
You think? Oh my God, she totally didn't expose her. That's illegal. The NIH funded it, and you're not going to even expose it.
Depriving the public of crucial information. They stress the importance of transparency and unbiased reporting in scientific research. Olson Kennedy defends her decision, fearing the results could be misused by opponents of gender-affirming care.
Then why'd you do it in the first place? Why'd you do it in the first place then? So if they would have come out okay, then you would have put it out. But because they didn't come out okay, you fear that they're going to be used against what? What are they going to be used against? Against not doing this to children? Wouldn't you think that's something you would want? These crazy wingnut gender-affirming doctors are nuts, and you need to be stripped of your license, lady, because you're not a doctor, okay? You are something else, and you have an agenda, okay? You have 100% an agenda, like a mad scientist, to screw with other people's kids.
But this raises a critical question. Should researchers hide results that contradict their expectations?
No.
The debate over transgender healthcare for youth remains heated, with divided public opinion on puberty blockers. This controversy underscores the need for rigorous and impartial research to inform healthcare policy and ensure the well-being of transgender youth.
Oh my God, people. Wait, sorry.
Transparency in science is essential.
Transparency in science is essential. Unbiased studies, all of that needs to happen, okay? But what the hell is wrong with the trans community? They are hiding something. They are 100% hiding something, and now it's all gonna come out, and they're freaking out, okay? They're freaking. You can't use mutilation. Oh yeah, you can. 100% you can. So let me, I just want to show you this real quick here. This is called Reddit Detrans group, okay? There are 50, do you see this right here, this number? 57,000 people in this group. Just go look at it for yourself, and it will actually just blow your mind. The amount of things people say in here, I'm going to read this first one. If you're thinking of stopping HRT, do it as soon as effing possible. You'll save yourself a lot of physical and emotional pain. I am so angry right now, and I wish there were someone I could hold accountable, but oh my God, it makes me so sad. I made the choice to go on testosterone, an ill-informed one, but an informed one. I don't know. I disagree with informed consent. I wasn't smart enough to make that decision at the time. I'm upset, and my womanhood, I want to cry, you guys, was stolen from me. My transition was a coping mechanism for the abuse I better beep that out. I was going through as a teenager. My childhood was stolen and my womanhood was stolen. And you could just go on and on. 15 years of T versus 1 point off. And most of the majority of the kids in this space are young girls. So when I see Matt, a dude, saying stuff like that with a trans woman who's also male, okay, the majority of these kids are female who are doing this, not male, female. So you don't get to talk about this, buddy. It's mind-blowing. I mean, this whole group is so shocking. The things that are said in here, and don't tell me there's hardly any 1%. There's 57,000. Then there's another group called Actual Detrans, and that one also has like 12,000 people in it. So right there, how many is that? Come on, man. They're trying to hide this from you. I'm not. I'm trying to expose this to you because I have not only self-preservation, but there are transsexual people who need this medicine, okay? They need it in order to move forward and become functioning adults in this world and deal with whatever's going on. And it takes a lot of mental health care and a lot of effort to get to this space. It's not just I'm trans. I just am mind blown. So I want to bring this last one up here for you.
It's not if somebody regrets to medically transition, it is when.
I regret my bottom surgery.
The older transes have spoken, and the shit is getting real. This is a detransition trend after a trans trend that I have been keeping an eye on for the last 5 years or so. At first, it was as simple as noticing that the overwhelming number of young trans people are female and the majority of older trans people are male. That was certainly strange and definitely a societal, cultural phenomenon and not a biological or chemical one. Then it became a game of what other mental illness does this person have instead of gender dysphoria. In this study of trans patients, the frequency of personality disorders was 81.4%. The most frequent personality disorder was narcissistic personality disorder, 57%. As said in this article, the world has also romanticized things like autistic people, autism. Yep. A lot of these people with autism believe that they're trans when they're not. Then it became, okay, who is just doing this for attention? It's giving main character syndrome.
It's so sad, people. It is. Thank you, Trump, for bringing attention, giving some funding to this so we can stop this already, so we can stop this self-ID, we can stop people taking puberty blockers, we can just put the brakes on the whole thing, and I don't care. All of you out there who think I'm against transitioning. I am not against transitioning in any way, shape, or form. So knock it off. I am 100% about a safe, sane, consensual transition for an adult. And no child can make this choice. Okay? So we're going to out these crazy parents who think their children are trans at 2 and babies are trans and no, we're done. We're actually done. A lot of us are done with this. We're not going to play your game anymore. I'm going to leave you with something here. This is one of the videos I did specifically about all of these horrible trans surgeries. And it was a very hard video for me to make because I'm just appalled that this is considered a surgery. Look at this person's breasts. Look at that. Okay. And I'm going to hold on here. Let me just play a tiny little bit of this because I think I was reading what that person said. Yes, there's some swelling that will go away probably, but there's loose skin in the middle and above my weird nipples, like someone spit some chewing gum on my chest. There seems to be too much tissue or they took too much. What? It goes on, and I have another one right here. Look at this. Look at this surgery. What? I'm going to put a link to this video so you can all go see why. Why is this happening? And it just goes on and on. It's horrifying. It's horrifying. I don't have a chest that looks like that. And I did mine 30 years ago. 30 years ago. They are just whipping this stuff out. There is no care. This is not, how could you call that gender affirming, life-saving care? How? How? And how can you discount all these young people who are getting this, who now hate themselves and probably do want to off themselves? You're creating a problem that never existed before. Trans community. So, I'm going to leave you all with this before I really start to cry, because it is the responsibility of adults. I don't care that I'm trans or whatever that I'm an adult who's 62 years old and been to hell and back. And it is a responsibility for us to stand up for these kids. And if we don't stand up for them, nobody will. And we have disingenuous, crazy influencers who are making light of all of this and pretending like it's not happening. We need to expose them all and expose the grift that has now become trans, okay? And I will not. You know how emotional I get around this because I couldn't even imagine if that was me. If that was me back in the day who did that to myself, I don't think I would be here today. And that's what people need to see. And there are many people who support my transition and many people who see me as a transsexual and understand that. But if we continue to do this stuff to little kids and to people who don't understand what they're doing, we're going to lose so much of what I have and the privilege that I have had to transition and walk this world. Okay. So with that, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for caring. Thank you for understanding that we have to put an end to this. And thank you for understanding how much I care about all of us, okay? And transitioning and trans and all of it. I care. I care about everything, but it needs to be real and it needs to be honest. And we have to stop lying to the world about what trans is, because we will have a bigger mess on our hands than you can ever. We already have. There's no way children should be dealing with this. Never should they. So thank you, everybody, for all the support you give my channel and seeing my intentions here as good. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday on the live. And thanks again for commenting, liking, and getting these videos to people who need to see them. Have a great rest of your day.